Hi, and welcome to this special edition of Omni Edition Garden City. I am Dan York, and with me now is Mayor Randy Walker, the mayor of Garden City. And first of all, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Dan. It's always a pleasure.
We want to talk about Garden City's new city manager who has been offered a contract and has accepted that contract. But before we get into that, we want to talk about the process of how we got here. Bob Muery, Garden City's current city manager / chief of police, is retiring. He's already retired officially as the chief of police, correct?
Yeah, and his last day as city manager will be this Friday, and he's retiring. So we contacted the MML, the Michigan Municipal League, which is a nonprofit organization of municipalities and municipal leaders that exchange information and develop policies of municipal concern. One of those being helpful in helping Garden City find a new city manager, a qualified candidate for the city manager position.
So it was just before Christmas that Bob officially let you know that that his time was going to be done, and he had indicated to the council in the past that this was coming. This wasn't a complete surprise to anybody.
That's correct. That's correct.
So it became the process of finding another city manager. Now we've been in the unique position for the last three of the last 4 city managers have all been former chiefs of police.
That's
and
correct.
Some of them have done double duty on the job.
Absolutely.
Bob was the first one to do double duty on the job long term as chief
That's
of police and city manager.
He was city manager since 2013, so like 5 years, which saved the city over $500,000, by the way.
Because he was collecting a very small sum just for the city manager job.
Very small salary for the city manager position. So,
Right.
And that's when Garden City needed the worst, coming out of the recession. So he needs to be commended for that. And he's been an excellent employee, excellent police officer. We wish him the best in his retirement. We're ready to move forward. And so we put out the ad in the Michigan Municipal League. I think we also put it in the International City Managers Association as well. And we received 14 resumes.
Okay.
And each council member went over the resumes and scored them. 4 being the highest that you definitely want to interview, and 0 not interested at all in interviewing. And so we tallied up those scores, and we interviewed the top 5.
Okay. And some of you had gone through this process before of hiring a city manager.
That's right. Because we had an internal candidate, we wanted to really make sure we were above board and so impartial and fair. So we made up all new questions. Each council member submitted a few questions, and 14 questions to be exact. And that created our interview questions. And we held the interviews. On the first night, we held the interviews of the 2 local candidates, so that the questions couldn't get leaked out.
Okay.
And the following week, we interviewed the out-of-state and out-of-city,
Sure. And we had one candidate that found a job in the process, so
That's
you
correct.
ended up only interviewing 4 instead of 5.
Only ended up interviewing 4, that's correct. And we did these at an open meeting at the Maplewood Community Center.
This is tricky because some people, when they apply for a city manager job, just don't always want the word out that they're applying for a job somewhere else. Obviously,
confidentiality.
but it's public record once they are interviewed. But in some
correct.
cases, it's kind of kept on the QT until the actual night of the interview.
We keep it confidential to the day of the interview. Once they interview, it's not confidential anymore.
Sure, absolutely. So talk about the interview process.
So we had the 14 questions. Each council member asked 2 questions to all the candidates. And the council members ranked each question a score of 6 being very good, 1 being very bad.
Right.
So the scale was from 1 to 6. Each council member added up their own score at the end of the interview. And I appointed senior council member Jaylee Lynch and new council member Brian Earl to tally the sheets and check the addition of everybody. And so we would have 2 people. We wouldn't just have 1 people checking the numbers. And I did that because Councilmember Lynch has been through this several times. She's been on council 18 years, I believe. So she's been through this process several times. So again, we're trying to be, above board and do it the correct way, the fair way. So all the city council members tallied up their own sheets, handed them down to Ms. Lynch, and then Councilmember Earl and Councilmember Lynch stayed back at the end of the night and tallied up the scores. And at the end of all the interviews, I issued a gag order that there would be no talking and communications just with the council. All the council members were informed of the scores and told, like, again, the gag order until we hold a special meeting, which we held on, I believe it was Thursday, February 1st.
And the purpose of that was so the council didn't develop any prejudice or anything
That's
prior
correct.
to
And
coming into that
and
meeting.
You don't want nothing to leak out, especially when you have an internal candidate too, and just to keep it under wraps until everything we do with hiring a city manager is supposed to be done in an open meeting too. So you don't want nothing to get leaked out. So we called for the special meeting on, I believe it was Thursday, February 1st, in the council chambers. We discussed the scores, brought up who the top two candidates were, had some discussion. A motion was made. A seconded was made. We took the vote, and we hired our new city manager on a 7-0 vote. His name is Dale Dougherty. He is currently working in Tampa, Florida.
In Hillsborough County, for the county.
And it was about an hour ago he accepted the contract, and he will be here in the first week in March. And his contract parallels with the GCS PPA contract for supervisory personnel. Like I said, he'll be here the first week in March.
So this is unique as far as the time you've been mayor. This is the first time we've had a city manager come from outside of the region even.
Right.
I think in your tenure as mayor, all of the city managers have either been the chiefs of police who were promoted or people that were from the region.
From the region, Darwin McCleary, I believe he
Right.
was from Oakland or Macomb County.
Right.
But yes, this is the first one that's out of state. I can tell you a little bit about Mr.
Sure.
Dougherty. He's got a master's degree in management and marketing from the University of Notre Dame. He has a master's degree in sports management from United States Sport Academy in Alabama. He has a bachelor's degree in healthcare management out of King's College in Pennsylvania. He is married with 5 children. He currently manages over 330 employees at Parks and Rec Department in Tampa, Florida, serving a population of 1.3 million residents. He's also served as a deputy city manager. He's a college professor. He has worked both with communities and with counties. Mr. Dougherty has other experience as well, but I believe I've covered the main points. I can tell you he's very excited to come to Garden City. If you were at the interview, you would have picked up he's a very, how personable he is. Council's excited to work with him, and we're looking forward to, when he gets here the first week in March, improving Garden City and to continue to move Garden City forward. I think the employees, the residents will like this gentleman. Like I said, he's very personable, and he's got a lot of education and a lot of experience, and I think he'll be good for Garden City.
And just from a budget standpoint, obviously this will cost the city a little bit more money because
That's correct.
you'll have a city manager that is a standalone employee rather than what we've had recently with Bob
yeah.
Muery, which was chief of police and city manager. But that would have happened regardless, pretty
Regardless,
much.
yes, yep.
Right, there was not going to be another dual position city manager coming out of this process.
That's correct.
And if you see the name written anywhere, it looks like Dougherty.
It
It's
looks
spelled
like,
Dougherty, but
yeah.
it's Dougherty.
but it's pronounced Dougherty. His first name is Dale. He says people call him Doc. I'll have to ask him where the Doc came from, DOC.
Probably
but,
just
that's
the
his
Dougherty,
nickname.
yeah.
But Dale Dougherty. He'll be here in the first week in March, and he accepted his contract about an hour ago.
Okay, very good.
Confirmed it. So,
And just so people understand, because I don't think everybody understands this, the city council has one employee, and that's the city manager.
I put it this way, so, because people ask me, all the employees in the city report to the city manager. The city manager reports to mayor and council. We give direction to the city manager of things that we want done, and he gets with his department heads and carries it out. But the employees report to him, but he answers to mayor and council.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for spending time to explain this to the residents so we could announce it to the residents.
Yep.
And we hope to have Dale Dougherty himself here at this desk sometime in the near future when he arrives here in Michigan.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on. And,
All right. And good luck with the next. You still have about 3.5 years left on your term as mayor.
Yeah, that's a long way off, but yes.
All right. Well, best of luck with that. Well,
Thank
thanks very much for watching this special edition of Omni Edition Garden City. I'm Dan York. Good night, everybody.